Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom made of glittering gingerbread and flowing chocolate rivers, lived a princess named Penelope. But nobody called her that. Everyone, from the royal baker to the littlest ladybug, called her Princess Pickle. Why? Because she absolutely, positively adored pickles. She had pickle-patterned dresses, a pickle-shaped bed, and for breakfast, you guessed it, pickle pancakes with syrup. One sunny afternoon, Princess Pickle was feeling a little, bored. The royal juggling frogs were on vacation, and the singing sunflowers were all napped out. So, she did what any princess who loves pickles and a bit of mischief would do. She tiptoed into the royal library, climbed a wobbly ladder made of licorice sticks, and pulled out a dusty old spellbook titled Silly Spells for Serious Fun. She flipped through pages that smelled of cinnamon and old paper until she found the perfect spell, the Giggle Wiggle Jiggle spell. The book promised it would make anything it touched giggle, wiggle, and jiggle for a whole hour. Perfect, she whispered, her eyes sparkling. This was just the thing to liven up the quiet castle. The spell needed 3 ingredients: a happy thought, a single strand of unicorn hair which she borrowed politely from Bartholomew the unicorn, and a drop of pickle juice. Princess Pickle had plenty of that. She gathered everything in a tiny cauldron, stirred it with a candy cane, and chanted the silly magic words. Flibberty-gibbet, fiddle-dee-dee, make everything giggle just for me. A puff of sparkly green smoke poofed out of the cauldron. It zipped out the window and headed straight for the royal gardens. Princess Pickle clapped her hands in excitement and raced after it. The first thing the smoke touched was the grand water fountain. Suddenly, instead of gracefully spouting water, the fountain started to giggle. Water gurgled and splashed everywhere as the stone cherubs on top wiggled their little wings. Next, the smoke floated over to the royal rose bushes. The roses, usually so prim and proper, began to shake their thorny stems, their petals trembling with laughter. A deep booming laugh came from the oldest oak tree in the garden, its branches jiggling so hard that a family of squirrels tumbled out, giggling themselves. Everything the smoke touched joined the party. The garden gnomes started doing the cha-cha, and the stone benches wiggled back and forth like they were trying to dance. Princess Pickle laughed so hard her tummy hurt. This was the best spell ever. She ran back inside the castle, the giggling green cloud following close behind. The first thing it found inside was a suit of armor standing guard in the hallway. Clank, clank, giggle, jiggle. The suit of armor started shaking, its metal plates rattling with laughter. It did a silly jig, its helmet bobbing up and down. Then, the smoke drifted into the grand ballroom. It swirled around the giant chandelier, and each crystal began to tinkle with tiny, high-pitched giggles, filling the room with the sound of 1,000 tiny bells laughing. The long velvet curtains started to wiggle and wave as if a happy breeze was dancing with them. Princess Pickle twirled in the middle of the room, loving every moment of the silly chaos. But then, the spell found its way into the royal kitchen. Uh-oh. The head chef, Monsieur Crème Brûlée, was just putting the finishing touches on the king's birthday cake. It was a magnificent 10-layer cake with towers of frosting and candy jewels. Just as the chef was about to place the final strawberry on top, the green smoke enveloped the cake. The cake began to wobble. Then it started to jiggle. Then, a deep, rumbling giggle erupted from the bottom layer. The whole cake shook with laughter. Frosting flew everywhere. The candy jewels bounced off the walls, and the little frosting towers wiggled themselves right off the cake. Monsieur Crème Brûlée stood there, covered in strawberry cream, his tall chef's hat drooping. "Mon gâteau, my cake, it has the giggles," he cried. Princess Pickle saw the mess, and her own laughter faded. This wasn't so funny anymore. The chef looked so sad, and the king's birthday was just an hour away. Oh no, she thought. Maybe this spell wasn't such a good idea after all. She rushed back to the library to find a counterspell. Frantically, she flipped through the silly spells book. There it was, at the very bottom of the page, in tiny, tiny letters. To undo the fun, a kind deed must be done, and the laughter will cease, bringing back all the peace. A kind deed? Princess Pickle thought hard. What could she do? She looked at the kitchen, at the sad chef, and the giggling, jiggling mess of a cake. She knew what she had to do. "Monsieur Crème Brûlée," she said, "I'm so sorry. It's my fault. Let me help you fix it." So, Princess Pickle tied on an apron. She helped the chef gather up all the layers of the cake. It was tricky because they kept wiggling, but they managed. She helped whip up new frosting, this time adding extra sprinkles to make it special. She carefully placed the candy jewels back on, and together, she and the chef rebuilt the birthday cake. It wasn't as perfect as before. One of the towers was a little crooked, and a few sprinkles were in odd places. But it was made with teamwork and a lot of care. As she placed the final strawberry on top of the newly decorated cake, a soft, warm light filled the kitchen. Poof! The cake stopped jiggling. It stood perfectly still. Princess Pickle and the chef looked at each other and smiled. The kind deed had worked. They peeked outside. The suit of armor was standing tall and silent again. The fountain was spouting water gracefully. The roses were still, and the old oak tree was quiet. The giggle-wiggle-jiggle spell was broken. When the king saw his birthday cake, he declared it the most wonderful cake he had ever seen. He didn't even notice the crooked tower. He just saw a cake that looked like it was made with a lot of love. Princess Pickle learned a very important lesson that day. Magic could be a lot of fun, but being kind and helping others was the most powerful and best magic of all. And while she still loved pickles and a little bit of mischief, she decided to leave the silly spells in the dusty old book on the shelf. Well, most of the time anyway. Thanks for listening to our story today. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures. Bye for now.